This video is going to be controversial. I expect some pushback, I expect some comments, some people reaching out, and I welcome that because I want this to be a conversation, but also I'm going to be sharing some concerns that I have with a category of businesses that are operating right now in the digital advertising space. But first, who am I? I'm John. I'm the CEO of StubGroup, and we are a digital advertising agency. We are also a premier Google partner, and we help businesses dominate Google Ads and make money online. And so there's a category of businesses that advertise that if you use them, put their pixel on your website, they can help you figure out who is coming to your website and then market to those people. So specifically what I mean by that is they say, hey, someone comes to your website, we're able to figure out who they are, we're able to capture information about them and allow you to target them through Google by essentially like uploading their information into Google, by uploading information into Meta, and also by using email platforms and being able to email those people, even though these people have not entered any information on your website. So we're not talking about people who've come to your website, filled out a form. We're talking about I go to a website, I'm browsing, I don't fill out anything, and I leave. And my information, however, has been, I guess capture is not the right word, but basically the way it works, generally speaking, is there are databases out there where my information has been collected. It could be something like the New York Times. If I have a subscription to the New York Times, well, the New York Times is actually reselling my information, kind of renting my information out to other databases. And so these companies, and examples of these companies would be places like Customers.ai, GoBot, OpenSend, others as well. What they do, generally speaking, is they figure out that the person who got to your website also, is the same person as is on one of these databases. And then in that database, they have personal information. They have email address or phone number, that kind of thing. And they can then take that and say, well, John was on your website. Even though John didn't fill out a form, we know he was on your website. And so John is a warm prospect. And now let's upload John's email address into Google using Customer Match or into Meta, and let's remarket to John. Let's target John, or let's send John an email. And I've been on the recipient end of this as well, where I'll go to a website, I didn't fill any information in, and yet I start getting emails from that site, and I know that they're using this type of technology. Now, my conversation here, I'm not disputing that the technology works. I know logistically it can work. I know that there are these databases out there and that these businesses who advertise this service can match a percentage of people to these databases and allow you to target people through email or through Google or through Meta that haven't actually entered information on your website. I know that works logistically. The question that I have and the concern that I have is how does this comply with Google's policies, with Meta's policies, even with many of the email platform policies? So let's take Google as an example. Google is very clear that if you upload data into Google about your customers or leads, or just if you upload personal information into Google, you have to confirm that this is first-party data. And I'm going to read exactly what Google requires. So they say, and this is on Google's policy page right now for Customer Match, they say, when using Customer Match, you may only upload customer information that you collected in the first-party context, such as information you collected from your websites, apps, physical stores, or other situations where customers share their information directly with you. And I give examples of this. Example 1, you collected information from a customer who had purchased an item from your website. So if I purchased something, I give you my address as part of that. I've given you first-party data. Example number 2, you collected information from a customer who registered to receive marketing messages through your apps. So I signed up for something through an app, through your website, I entered my email address for a newsletter, I've given you first-party data. And third example, you collected information from a customer who signed up for your loyalty program in your physical store. Again, I signed up for something in your store. I said, yes, you can contact me. Here's my information. Those are all examples of first-party data where I have given you, I specifically me, have given you my information. Now, what some of these other companies in this space are saying is that the data is first party because when I gave my data to, let's say, the New York Times, I gave it to them as first party, and then New York Times giving it to this company or giving access to it is first party, they would say, and then allowing you, the advertiser, to use that data is first party, they would say. But I don't see how that works because that's inherently not first party. That's inherently third party. First party is where I have a direct relationship with the advertiser and I have entered my email address through your website, through your app, and now you have a direct relationship with me. So I don't understand how these companies are saying that that's a first party relationship when I haven't actually given you as the advertiser my information. The concern here is that if you're working with these companies and you are using the information this way, you're submitting it to Google, submitting it to Meta, or also emailing people, that you could potentially be violating the policies of those platforms. Also, on the email side of things, you're not supposed to email people who haven't given you their email. That's kind of 101. And so you could face significant issues, potentially from a legal perspective. I'm not going to speak too much on the legal side of things because I'm definitely not a lawyer. But definitely when it comes to the email platforms themselves, generally when let's say you go to a new platform and you upload emails into that platform, they're going to say, hey, did you get permission from these people to email you? Well, if you're using this quote unquote first party data that I believe is actually third party data, you haven't gotten permission from a person to email them. When I went to your website, I never entered my email and said, yes, I want to receive emails from you. And so how do you have permission to email me? So those are my concerns. Like I said, this is going to be controversial. There's some very large, good-sized companies that are doing this. And logistically, it does work. But policy-wise, I'm skeptical. So as they say, please change my mind. But if you're watching this and you're working with one of those types of companies or considering it, just think carefully about some of the concerns I've shared, because I'm not sure that they're being adequately addressed right now by the companies that are in this space.